Good afternoon, Chag Sameach. On behalf of the Chabad of Melbourne City Chapter, I'd like to welcome you all here today to the annual Sukkot in the City Luncheon. Today we are graced with the presence of the Honourable Mr. John Lenders, Treasurer of Victoria, Mr. Mark Dreyfus, the Federal Member for Isaacs, Miss Susan Riley, the Deputy Lord Mayor, and Jennifer Happett, the Member for Southern Metropolitan Region. Welcome. Chabad of Melbourne. Yeah, sure. We welcome now Mrs. Dreyfus. Chabad of Melbourne has been serving the Melbourne City Centre and the surrounding areas for the past 11 years. Through our adult education, holiday programs, leadership lectures, festival programs, pastoral care and home visits, we've reached out to many thousands over the years. We've built a community centre here in the heart of Little Collins Street, forging relationship with businessmen, women, tourists, and cultivating awareness of the Jewish heritage while at the workplace. At this point of time, I would like to welcome and introduce Mr. John Lenders, the Treasurer of Victoria. Mr. Lenders is responsible for Victoria's budget, 35 billion at the moment, and various roles in reporting. Mr. Lenders.
Thank you, Rabbi, for the opportunity to be here sharing with you today, sharing a meal on this very, very special day. I've been asked to speak more really about where the economic climate we're in and where things are moving as we are here today in Melbourne as Victoria, and it's very appropriate at in the centre of the city at essentially what is a business gathering. Yesterday we had very interesting news where the Reserve Bank of Australia, for the first time in many months, increased the interest rate or the cash rate, and so we have been the first of the G20 economies to have actually seen our central bank acknowledging that the curve has turned and that the economy has more upside than downside going forward, and in what has probably been a controversial move, actually increase the interest rate to start slowing the growth and stabilising what is going forward. If we look back on the last 18 months, it's been an incredibly turbulent economic 18 months where the G20 countries and all governments across the globe decided firstly we needed to stabilise the financial system, and whether that was through the guarantees to banks, whether that was through controls on instruments like short selling, to stabilise the financial system was one of the two important parts of stabilising our global economy, which applies to Australia, which applies to Victoria. The second step was stimulus of the economy, and in our state of Victoria, the instruments of financial stability were in the hands of our national government, and we fully supported what they did. Our part in conjunction was to build on the stimulus, and in our case it was overwhelmingly through capital works, where we increased our capital works program threefold to bring forward a stimulus, and over the next several years that will taper down as the economy commences growing again. Of course, in our state of Victoria the economy had not slowed. It grew by 0.5% last year and is forecast to grow this year. Going forward the challenges for us clearly are how do we continue to keep that growing. When I entered the workforce, there were 7 people in the workforce for every retiree. If I leave at a time of my choosing, and as Mark, Jennifer and I well know, and Susan well knows, as politicians sometimes it's not at a time of our choosing, but if I leave at a time of my choosing, there will be 3.5 people in a workforce for every retiree. And that starkly paints a picture that we need to boost productivity, we need to boost retirement income savings, or else our standard of living will significantly deteriorate. So I'll conclude in what we as a state government are seeking to do. We are seeking fundamentally to build competitiveness in this state, whether it be by reducing reg burden, reducing taxes to encourage business to come here, and we're seeing that happening. Victoria has one of the most robust economies in the developed world. Secondly, we want to build on the skills of our workforce, and we have heavily invested over many years on that, because a skilled workforce encourages strong employment, strong productivity and growth. And thirdly, we will continue to invest in infrastructure at historically very high levels, even after the stimulus comes off, because those three things together give us the economic foundations to do the important social and environmental work that we wish to do to be a stronger, more civilised society. So today here, as we celebrate Sukkot here in the centre of the city of Melbourne, I'm delighted to be here sharing a meal with you, delighted to talk a little bit about how we see the economy now and where the future is. A strong economy is an important part of a civilised society, so I'm delighted to share that with you here today. Thank you, Rabbi.